It's funny how we shop now. Just think about it for a second. How often is your phone out? Even when you're physically standing in a store.
Oh, constantly. It's almost like a second brain for shopping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just a handy tool anymore. It signals this big shift, the rise of what people are calling the mobile-first shopper.
Right.
And that shift is really forcing merchants to rethink everything, moving towards this idea of unified commerce.
That's the term you hear a lot now, unified commerce.
Yeah, and today we're going to really dig into what that actually means. For us, as shoppers, but also for the businesses trying to keep up, it's more than just having a website or, an app. It's about making everything seamless, totally channel agnostic.
So like breaking down the walls between online and offline?
Precisely. Think of it less like separate shops online here, physical store there, and more like one single system.
Okay.
Where, say, you start shopping on your phone, put something in your cart.
Right.
Then you walk into the store, and the associate there can actually see your online cart and help you finish the purchase right there.
Really?
Or maybe find the item for you.
Ah, okay. So it's all connected behind the scenes.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is where we're getting this picture from.
Yeah, this isn't just guesswork, right?
Not at all. We're drawing heavily on Visa's 2025 Global Digital Shopping Index.
And that's a pretty significant piece of research.
It really is. They surveyed, over 18,000 consumers?
Yeah, 18,000 consumers and nearly 3,500 merchants, too, across 8 countries. So it gives a really solid global view.
Definitely.
And Matt Swatzel from Visa, he's their head of solutions for North America acceptance. He really nailed it. He said the absolute foundation for building this new kind of seamless experience, it all comes down to truly understanding us, the modern consumers.
Because our expectations are just different now.
Completely different, shaped entirely by living these mobile-first lives. That's really the heart of it.
And you really see that mobile dominance in the numbers. Like, get this, 60% of consumers browse merchant sites on their phone multiple times a week.
60%, multiple times.
Yeah. And here's the kicker. Nearly half of those browsing sessions, they actually turn into sales.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just window shopping online. People are actually buying.
They really are. It's a huge conversion rate, which, that's got to be a wake-up call for businesses, right?
Absolutely. Think about the implication. Smartphones are now involved in nearly half of all retail purchases in some way.
Half. That's incredible.
It is. So for merchants, the question becomes unavoidable. You've got this always-on audience basically glued to their phones.
Right.
That audience has to be the bedrock, the absolute core of your entire channel strategy.
Yeah.
You can't treat mobile as an afterthought anymore.
No way. That always-on point is so critical. And it also shows, how much power we have as consumers now. Because, look, mobile is surging, no doubt. But the physical store, it's definitely not dead. It still accounts for, 73% of purchases?
Still the majority, yeah. Which is fascinating in itself.
It is. So the real challenge, and maybe the opportunity for businesses, is how do you leverage that mobile-first behavior while someone is in your physical store? Or maybe use mobile to get them into the store.
That blend is key.
It creates some tricky problems, sure, but also, as you said, huge opportunities. Let's maybe unpack some of how they're trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so it's clear, isn't it? This mobile-first shopper isn't just some passing phase, it's the new normal.
It really is. And it means merchants have to deliver this completely seamless, unified experience, no more silos.
Exactly. And that means they need to, really get inside our heads, understand how we behave as shoppers now, and adapt their whole approach, not just bolt on a few digital bits.
And a huge part of that adaptation, maybe the core part, is just being fundamentally easy to do business with.
Easy.
Yeah.
Simple.
Especially on that small phone screen, right? You've got to tailor the experience for mobile. Minimize the typing, minimize the taps.
Fewer clicks, the better.
Definitely. And using stored payment details is massive here. If you don't have to dig out your card and type in 16 digits.
Oh, yeah. That's often the point where I just give up if it's too fiddly.
Exactly. Less friction means you're way more likely to actually complete the purchase.
Makes sense. But it's not just about the checkout being smooth, is it? It's also about catching you at the right moment.
Yeah, meeting you where you are. With relevant stuff, smart nudges.
Like the abandoned cart reminders.
Perfect example. You were browsing for breakfast stuff last night, got distracted, forgot to check out.
Happens all the time.
Right. Then, boom, next morning, a little reminder pops up, maybe even with a small incentive. That forgotten cart suddenly becomes a super easy purchase.
It's clever because it taps into the intent you already showed.
Precisely. It acts on that intent at just the right time.
I have to admit, I've definitely been nudged into buying things that way. They work.
They do. And this ties into another really interesting area, bridging that gap between digital browsing and the physical store.
Ah, the click and mortar idea.
Exactly. Think about buying online but choosing to pick up in-store or maybe even pay in-store.
Okay.
When you do that, the data shows there's a 43% chance you'll actually buy more stuff while you're physically there in the store.
43%. Wow, that's significant. Almost half the people buy extra.
It's a huge upsell opportunity. So merchants need to actively encourage that journey. Maybe the website prompts you, hey, need this today, come pick it up at your local store. Integrate it right into the online flow.
Make it easy to choose that option.
Yeah. And then there's personalization. That's
Yeah.
another thing we as consumers increasingly expect.
We want things tailored to us, don't we?
Yeah.
The right loyalty points, the right rewards, offers that actually feel relevant.
Totally. Get it right, and you can turn someone who is just casually browsing low intent into someone ready to buy high intent.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine a hotel reminding you about that spa package you really enjoyed on your last stay. Or a restaurant suggesting a wine pairing based on what you usually order. It feels understood.
Yeah, that adds real value.
But there's always a but for the merchant, right? They have to balance making these great personalized offers with, well, making money. Profitability.
Right, like free shipping sounds amazing for us.
But it can really eat into their margins.
Yeah.
Whereas targeted rewards, loyalty points, things like that, often cost them less but still drive that behavior.
So it's a strategic calculation for them, especially once they've nailed the frictionless payment part.
Exactly. That's the foundation. And speaking of foundations, none of this convenience works without rock solid but ideally invisible security.
Ah, yes, the security aspect. Always crucial.
And this is where things like tokenization get really interesting.
Okay, remind us quickly what tokenization is.
Sure. It's basically swapping your sensitive card number, the long number on the front, with a unique digital identifier, a token. That token is useless to fraudsters if they somehow steal it.
So the real card number is never exposed during the transaction.
Precisely. And things like biometrics fingerprint or Face ID on your phone add another layer of easy, secure authentication.
Right. Makes sense.
And these network-enabled tokens are even smarter. They can automatically update if your physical card expires or gets replaced.
Oh, that's huge. So you don't have to go update your saved card details on every single website.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Less hassle for you, better approval rates for the merchant because the credentials are up to date. It means fewer declines, less friction, and critically, much lower fraud risk.
So it's win-win-win. You, the merchant, the bank.
Pretty much. And we're seeing huge reliance on these stored tokenized credentials now, about 45% for consumers generally.
Okay.
But get this, for enterprise or business-to-business clients, it's up around 80%.
80%. That shows how much businesses value that security and convenience.
Absolutely. And that reliance directly fuels more sales because the process is just so smooth and trusted.
So let's sort of pull this all together. We've talked about how this mobile-first world isn't just coming. It's here.
Definitely here.
And it demands this completely seamless, unified approach from businesses.
Yeah.
It's not optional anymore.
No. And the core of that is being, like we said, easy to do business with.
Which means nailing the mobile experience,
Yeah.
using stored credentials so checkout is fast,
Giving those smart, timely nudges for things like abandoned carts.
and cleverly blending the digital and physical worlds, like that click-and-mortar opportunity, which can drive extra sales when people come in store.
Right. Plus that deep personalization, getting the loyalty and rewards right for you specifically.
While balancing the cost, of course.
Of course. And underlying absolutely everything is that invisible, strong security. Tokenization is just fundamental now for making it all work safely and smoothly.
Yeah, it really seems like the linchpin for frictionless, secure commerce. It makes you wonder, though, what's next? I mean, what does the future look like when your phone isn't just for browsing before you go to a store, but becomes like an essential part of the in-store experience itself?
Yeah, blurring those lines even further.
Totally. Where online and offline just completely merge.
Yeah.
And, how do businesses keep pushing the boundaries of convenience, keep making things easier and faster?
While staying ahead on security, especially as we all get more comfortable, maybe even reliant on our digital identities managing so much of our lives.
That's the tightrope they have to walk, isn't it? innovation versus vigilance.
It really is. But if we circle back to Matt Swatzel's point from Visa,
Yeah.
he really emphasized that while there are challenges, the opportunities this whole shift creates for merchants, for payment networks, are just tremendous. It's a fundamental reshaping, but one full of potential.